Hello everyone, a very good morning. My name is Prashant. I welcome you all to AWS Architect Training by Edureka. Guys, can you quickly confirm if my voice is audible and is my screen visible to all of you? Yes, couple of people already confirming. Great. So we will wait for another 3 to 4 minutes and then we'll start with our today's session. All right. Just in case if there are a few more people who are about to join in. So let us wait for another 3 to 4 minutes and then we'll get started. All right. Once again, a very good morning. My all right. Hey guys, am I audible now? Better now? Fantastic. Thank you for that quick confirmation. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what went wrong, but yeah, good that you're able to listen to me now, right? So great. So once again, let me keep you informed that today is the last session as part of this course. And if we look back, as part of this course, we started off with understanding what exactly cloud computing is, the very basics of cloud computing. What is your different service model, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service? We started off understanding what are different deployment model, right? Then slowly and gradually we moved towards understanding AWS. And then we started exploring different services of AWS. And today when we are about to complete this course, we have touched upon various services on AWS, from the server perspective, from the database perspective, from the network perspective, from the monitoring perspective, right? From the automations perspective, from a configuration perspective, right? So all those things, I do strongly believe that each and everyone, once when they go back and practice this, they will have fair enough confidence on all the services which we have discussed as part of this course. And I do strongly assume that each and every one of you is pretty confident on different services of AWS by now. Yes, everyone. Fantastic. Thank you for that quick confirmation. And I'm glad that each and everyone is pretty confident on the subject by now, right? So now, after completing this course, after practicing, right, what next? So the next is your examination, right? Each and everyone here would want to attempt AWS certification exam and get themselves AWS certified, right? So how many of you guys here wants to actually pursue the certification? Can I have quick check with all of you? Everyone? I do believe everyone, right? Fantastic. Okay. Aram has already completed the certification. All right. So those who already have, that's fantastic. But those who don't have certification already, so I'm pretty sure you are already planning, and you should be very soon attempting the certification exam. So let's understand the certification flow, and then we'll move forward. what are different certifications on AWS, right? So let's understand that, then we'll move forward. So AWS have different level of certifications, starting with the very basics, which is your fundamental levels. Then they have associate level, and then they have professional and specialty level. The very basics level of certification is your foundational level course, right? Foundational level certification, which is your cloud practitioner certification, which is the most basic certification, cloud practitioner certification. Now this examination costs you around $100. You get 40 questions. You get 60 minutes to attend those 40 questions. And the pass mark for this examination is somewhere around 65 to 68 percentage, right? The pass mark is somewhere around 65 to 68 percentage for this examination. Now this examination is not gonna explore anything in detail. It is going to check your fundamental understanding about cloud computing, different service model, different deployment model, what are benefits of moving to cloud, why industry is moving from on-premises to cloud, all those fundamental understanding. Apart from that, fundamental understanding about AWS. What is AWS? What are different AWS region? What is availability zone? What is edge location? What are some core services of AWS like your EC2, S3, RDS, DynamoDB, auto scaling, ELB? How is the billing? Okay, all of those details are, all are those areas from where you get questions in this examination, right? So please be informed. The cost of examination is $100. You get 40 questions, 60 minutes, and all these questions are multiple choice questions. No subjective questions. All are objective questions. Okay, so you get a question, you get multiple choices against it. You need to select the best one or the appropriate one, right? So if you don't clear your examination in one go, you can reattempt this examination, but that will come with, again, you have to pay for it, but that will come with cost. Let's say you attend an examination, you don't clear it, okay, that's it. You don't get a second chance for the same cost. You'll need to repay the same amount of fees once again, and you need to reattend this examination. Okay, so that is your cloud practitioner's examination. Next is your associate level examination. Under associate level, there are 3 tracks basically. You have AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate, Certified SysOps Administrator Associate, Certified Developer Associate. So the course which we discussed or which we had just completed today, it is more to do with AWS Solution Architect Associate level examination. The cost of this examination is $150. You get 65 questions. You get 130 minutes to attempt those 65 questions. Again, these are also all multiple choice question or objective based question, no subjective questions. The pass mark for this examination is 72 percentage. I repeat, the pass mark for this examination is 72 percentage. You get 65 questions, 130 minutes to attempt those 65 questions, and the cost of this examination is $150, where you can, take this examination, right? Again, same like your cloud practitioner. If you clear your examination in one go, well and good. If you want another attempt, again you need to pay $150 to attempt this examination, right? So talking more in detail about this examination, right? Because this is the examination which you need to attempt. It is not mandatory. First, let me tell you, it is not mandatory for you to attempt cloud practitioner to be in position to attend this examination. Attending or taking up cloud practitioner examination is completely your choice. If you wish, you can. If you don't want, you can directly attempt your solution architect associate level examination as well. You can directly attempt your solution architect associate level examination. So let's understand how to go about preparing for this examination, associate level examination. So I have this particular notepad file which I have documented and I'll be sharing with all of you guys today, right? So in this notepad file, I have in detail, you know, written about which module, what needs to be prepared, from where do we get maximum questions, right? So as I was telling, solution architect associate certification examination C02. Earlier last year, like 1 year back, they had C01. It is only a year back they changed with the, or they revised with C02. And let me keep you informed, the EduReka career course which you're just completing, that is very much in line with this examination. The curriculum is very much in line with SAA C0 examination, C02, sorry, right? So as I was telling, it consists of 65 questions. You get 130 minutes and time is more than sufficient to attempt this examination. It will check your understanding or your ability to think as an architect. You must be able to visualize the architecture. You must be able to visualize the diagrams looking at the questions, right? So that should not be a bigger challenge. So starting with the networking module, which accounts for around 30% of overall score. That is where you start with if you're preparing for this examination, because I have put this flow of topics from, you know, weightage perspective. The topic which has highest weightage I have put on the top, and then in a sequential order based on their weightages in the examination. So let me tell you, networking accounts for around 25 to 30% of overall score. So if it is a 30% of overall score, then if you omit networking section and if you get all other sections right, you still only get 70%, whereas the pass mark for this examination is 72%. The pass mark for this examination is 72%. So you can think for yourself, like if you omit networking section, you definitely don't clear this examination, right? So networking is the most important module as part of this course. And that is why we have already discussed the fundamentals of networking as well, though it was not there as part of this curriculum, right? But I wanted to ensure that each and everyone have fair enough understanding about the subject, and to ensure that you know what fundamentals of networking are, we try to discuss about them. I have clearly documented under networking what all you need to focus upon, right? Step by step, so that when you practice, you easily, use this as a guide and start preparing. And don't worry, after networking comes your security module, that is more to do with IAM, MFA, and all of that. Then some fundamental understanding about your WAF, AWS Shield, all of that which we had already discussed. And then under the storage sections, be very sure about your EBS, instant store, S3, different S3 options which we discussed, right? Some fundamental understanding about storage classes, your how to use S3 to host a static website, cross-region replication, right? EFS, all of that is what you need to focus upon in your storage section. Then under compute section, be very sure to touch upon EC2 in detail, different configuration parameters of EC2, the 7 steps which we remember while we were discussing with EC2, we had elaborated in detail. Please ensure you understand each of that in detail. Do not forget to discuss about or study about auto scaling and ELB. Okay, be very sure about different types of instance options like your reserved, on demand, spot, and all of that. Then what your placement group is, what is your AWS Lambda, fundamentals of some ECS. Though we have not discussed this, you'll have to touch upon it. Okay, just basic understanding should be good enough. Know about elastic beanstalk. And from the database module perspective, be very sure about RDS, Aurora, DynamoDB. These are the only three major databases which you should be good about with. Okay, and the last section would be your integration tool, where you need to analytics and integration, where you need to know some fundamentals about redshift kinesis. And from the management tool, you should be aware about CloudWatch monitoring, your CloudTrail, some basics of cloud formation and ops work. So this is, area where your questions would come from in an examination, right? So I hope, looking at this document, right, you will have a fair enough understanding on what topic to cover under each section, because AWS as such is an ocean. Let me tell you very honestly, AWS as such is an ocean. You have no start point and you have no end point. Okay, and that is the reality. There is no start point or there is no end point towards AWS, right? But I'm pretty sure if you go ahead and follow this approach step by step, use this notepad file as your guide, then I'm very sure that you will be able to easily prepare for this examination. Now, in order to support your preparation, right, as informed yesterday, as informed earlier, right, I'll be sharing you a couple of book material so that you don't have to search anything online specifically just for the purpose of preparation. You search something on online. I don't want you to do that, right? So I'll give you a book on cloud practitioner. I'll be providing you a book on solution architect associate level guide, right? So both of this would be more than enough for you to clear both the examination, right? Both your cloud practitioner examination and your solution architect associate level examination. So this book has all the detailed topics and more detailed understanding. In addition to that, just in case if you're coming from a developer background, I've also included an exam guide for your developer level associate examination. Okay, so that will also be eventually coming on to you, right? In addition to this, if you want to explore more in detail about networking, I have included a book on advanced networking. Okay, this is serverless architecture, sorry. So that, since networking being a very important topic, so I included a book on this is your specialty certification exam guide. Okay, purely talking more in detail about networking. So just in case, you feel the material or the content available in this solution architect associate level guide is not sufficient, then definitely leverage this advanced networking book to have more in detail understanding about what exactly is your networking, right? Guys, am I making sense? Everyone? Do you think this will help? Yeah? Now, okay, many people might have this question. How many hours of preparation should I do for me to clear this examination, right? So let me tell you, if after looking into all this class recording, if you have made all these practices, whatever we have practiced in the course, if you have practiced all of that, right? After doing all of this on daily basis religiously for, let's say, 20-25 days, if you religiously spend 90 minutes, then I think that should not be any big challenge to attempt this examination by end of this month or early next month, depending on how dedicatedly you spend your time, right? If you religiously every day spend around 90 minutes for next 20 days, 25 days, because depending on every person to person, someone is a slow learner, someone is a fast learner, right? But I personally feel for 25 days, after practicing all of this, whatever we have done in this course, after practicing all of that, right? If you religiously spend around 90 minutes for 20-25 days, then you should be, you know, prepared enough to attempt this examination without any challenges. Nimai, does that answer your question? And if you can spend more time on daily basis, let's say every day you're like, no, Prashant, I can spend around 2 hours, 3 hours, then I think, 10 to 15 days should be good enough. But since all are working professional and I do understand the challenge with that, will not be able to take out 2 hours and 3 hours of time, right? So at least 90 minutes on daily basis is something you need to be spending. So apart from that, to help you go ahead with your examination, get you the feel of your examination, I have some dumps included. Okay. So this are not the recent dumps. Let me tell you very clearly. These are not your recent dumps. These are pretty old, maybe 2 years old dumps. But I've included them so that you get to understand how the questions will look like. You get to understand the essence of these questions, right? So I have included a couple of them here. This will definitely help you to get, or to help you feel the depth of the subject and the questions which they might ask in your examination, right? So these are purposely included so that you all get to know how the questions in examination would look like, or the pattern of examination questions you see in the examination, right? And now all this material is definitely important, but let me tell you one very important material which is must you should refer to if you are attempting your solution architect associate level examination. So which material am I referring to? This one. AWS Well Architected Framework, July 2020. Please ensure you definitely refer to this material. If you want to think as an architect, if you want to design solutions, if you want to really step into the shoes of architect, then this is the must to go through. Whether you go through the book materials or not, but if you want to really think as an architect, then this material is something which you should definitely go through, where they would in detail help you understand how to think as an architect, how to use different services, when to suggest which services, what are the factors that you need to take into consideration so that you can start visualizing your architecture of your infrastructure. Guys, am I making sense? Please ensure you go through this material, AWS Well Architected Framework, for sure. Okay. If you're planning to attempt this examination, please ensure you go through this document, because this is amazing document which will help you think from different angles, okay, as an architect. So now, having discussed about all of this material, okay, having discussed about this material, you have some best practices, some white papers and all of this included. So let me do one thing first. Let me upload this material in the LMS portal so that all of you guys can download it and have it with you for your reference, right? So I'm uploading all this material under module 10. Pay attention. Under module 10, So I zipped this file. Basically, this particular folder is completely zipped, and I'm uploading it over here so that you will have to download only one single file. Can we download this material from LMS? Yes, right away. Once I upload, I'm going to check with all of you guys that you are able to upload or not. Allow me a few minutes. All right, while it is getting uploaded, any question from exam point of view? Remember in the beginning, I told you that guys, have some trust onto me, park all your trust onto me, and I'll ensure that you all have all the material, you all have all the relevant information to go ahead and attempt your examination. And I hope looking at this material, looking at this content which is specifically prepared, you have that fair enough confidence now. Is it necessary to have 1 year of experience to attempt this? No, you don't need to have 1 year of experience. There's no such mandate. Okay, it is ideally recommended that those who have at least 1 year of experience, they attempt this examination. But again, that is not an hard and fast rule. Whether you have 1 year experience or you don't have 1 year of experience, you can still attempt this examination. Does that answer your question, Bitika? All right. So guys, let me keep you all informed that I have uploaded material under your LMS portal under module 10. I want you guys to quickly log into your LMS portal, go to your module 10, and you should be able to download this material from your module 10. Can I have quick check with all of you guys? Can you quickly try this and confirm if you're able to see this material and able to download this material? Everyone, are you able to access this material and have it downloaded on your local machine? So under module 10, if you scroll down, here it is, AWS study material. Just click on it and you should be able to download it on your local machine. This is your, .rar file. So use your WinRAR or 7-zip to unzip these files. In case if you don't have it, then use your online tools. So you can use this in case if you don't have WinRAR or 7-zip on your local machine. You can go to this website to unzip those files. Can I have quick confirmation, guys? Are you able to access all those files? You can download it later. Absolutely, it's your choice because this is gonna stay forever. Okay, it's not that we are gonna remove it right now. So you will have these files available to you for lifetime. Uploaded is uploaded. We are not gonna remove it. You have lifetime access to LMS portal. And John Victor, answering your question about AWS machine learning, right? So I was checking. I did not specifically find any books, but I have a path where you should be able to find a lot of detail about machine learning. Let me know if that helps. That helps. Yes, John. So, specifically, I did not find any book. To be very honest, I'm not coming from machine learning background and never I have attempted anything on that. So I don't have much of exposure to it. But, this path is where, after discovering this is one path where you have a lot of details around machine learning step by step for different services, right? Like right from your SageMaker to your Code Guru, your DevOps Guru, all of those, you know, you have that detailed guides around it, how it works. So all those details are available, and you have code documentations and references available for you to get started with. Let me know if that helps. Okay, so please do check out on aws.amazon.com so that from the machine learning perspective you can look into details. All right, any questions from anyone so far from the exam preparation perspective? Are you all able to access all the material, the 30 plus files which are available in that zip folder? Fair enough. Whatever I had promised earlier. So you have all the material today. Yes. Any questions from exam perspective before I move forward? Okay. You need index.html. Is that? Okay. So that is available in your LMS portal if you go to your module 3. You go to your module 3, okay, and you have that reference available for your index.html. Here it is. Say static website on AWS. So you have the detailed code available. This is your index.html which you can use. Does that answer? Cool. For AWS CLI, any document you refer. So again, you have a very good documentation from AWS itself. You say AWS CLI reference, right? So they have detailed command list and detailed command references for different services. So you can refer to this just in case if you want to explore more in detail about AWS CLI. Prasanna, can I have the session documentation? Which session documentation are you referring to? Edureka guest. Which documentation are we referring to? Can you please quickly confirm? The session recording is available. Now around this, what documentation are we specifically referring to? Because relevant hands-on documentation are already available. Okay. Relevant hands-on document are already available in the LMS portal. Cool. So that was from the exam point of view. Okay. That was from the exam point of view. Now let's move a bit forward. Okay. And let's talk from the interview perspective. Let's talk from the job perspective. What kind of role should I apply for? How do I start thinking from that angle? How do I know which role I should apply for? How many of you have this question firstly? Before I start discussing, I want to check with you guys. How many of you have this question? Prashant, I have knowledge now. And let's assume that I got myself certified also. But which role do you think I should be applying for? Let's be very honest. How many of you have this doubts, this question back of your mind that, Prashant, I have knowledge, but I don't know which role I should apply for? Majority, I can tell you. I can tell you, majority of the folks have these questions. Okay. And because you have this doubt in your mind, at times you end up into those roles which you are not interested into. Let's say, like, you're not sure which role you want to go forward to. You have simply updated your resume, and post update, you're trying to attempt these, interviews. By hook and crook, you clear your exam, you clear your interview. And after 6 months, after 8 months down the line, you get so annoyed with the role that you neither enjoy that work, or again in a year or two you start looking for a change, right? That's the reality. I'll tell you, like, nothing is hidden from all of you guys as well. You guys are coming from the same industry, so you very well know what I'm talking, and more than me you are aware, because being in industry, right, you have day in day out exposure. I, being a freelancer, I don't have that great exposure of the industry. Okay, so the reason why we don't enjoy our work, the reason why we change our jobs every 2 years, every 1 year, right, is because we don't know, we don't have clarity for ourselves, right, which role I should be applying for. And the problem is not with the industry, the problem is with us. I'm sorry to say this, but let me tell you, the problem is with us, and we are the responsible persons. How do I say that? So I want to ask you a couple of questions that will help you rethink. Okay, let's assume that you completed your course, you completed your examination, you got yourself solution architect associate level certification, and post that you have good knowledge on the subject. How do you present this in your resume? Everyone, let's be very honest. How do you put this information that I am certified and I have good knowledge on AWS? How do you put it in your resume? Because today what I'm going to share is something which has been tested, which has been tried, and which works wonder. Okay, so today I'm going to point you towards the root cause of this problem, so that you can fix it for once and all, once and ever, right? How do you put this information in your resume? I want you guys to help me with your responses. Let's assume that you're certified solution architect. You have good, understanding about the subject. How do you put this information in your resume? Let me tell you, I don't see you guys responding. Guys, can I have your response? Let me tell you, 95% of people, okay, I'm not including you, okay, 95% of people would upload that logo on top of their resume, would print that logo on top of the resume, and somewhere in under the skill set section there would be a very beautifully written line: possess good understanding about AWS, have detailed knowledge Okay. Have detailed knowledge about AWS. Possess great understanding about AWS. All those adjective based lines you put in your resume. Agree with me? Yes or no? I'm talking, this is the reality of 95% of people. Under your skill set section, there are two things which you definitely write. One is certified solution architect associate level. And in brackets, you write the year which you have completed. So that, yeah, I'm the latest. I've just completed in the month of, July 2021. And then the next line says, possess great understanding, in detail understanding about AWS. Let me tell you, if you have written this, trust me, your probability of getting a relevant job call is like next to, out of 100%, if I say, it is hardly like 5%. Next to bare minimum, I would say. If you have written these lines in your resume, trust me, don't expect relevant job calls. And then you end up telling there are no good jobs in the market. And this is the reality, guys. I'm not building any stories. And I'm pretty sure whatever I'm talking right now, each and everyone is able to connect and relate to it. We write this, we try for multiple jobs, we apply in LinkedIn, we apply in different job portals, but we don't hear back from anyone. We apply in different, websites, we don't hear back from the people. And slowly and gradually, we start cursing. There are no good jobs in the market, man. The job market is very bad. How many of you have run through this situation? Not only about with AWS or cloud, even with your on-premise industries, with your on-prem skill sets. And this situation is what leads you to compromise on a lot of things. Compromise on your job roles, compromise on your paychecks, compromise with right kind of organization. Because what happens? You apply for 10, 12 jobs, you hardly get reward from one or two companies. So out of 12, you're getting reward only from 2 companies. So that itself is demotivating, because you applied at so many locations, no one is even bothered to get back, which means there is no demand in the market. So you get a call from only 2 organizations. Now in that 2 organizations, you attend a first interview. Since you have mentioned you have detailed knowledge about AWS, they have seen this keyword and they have called you for an interview. You go for an interview. They start asking questions from IoT. They start asking questions from robotics. They start asking questions from artificial intelligence and all of that. And you're like, boss, no, I'm sorry. This is not what my area of, work is. And they're like, okay, but we are looking for someone with good knowledge on IoT, good knowledge on AI and all of that. So eventually what happens? You don't convert that job opportunity, right? Do you all agree with me? Yes or no? And then we curse HR people. They wasted my time. Like they didn't knew that they were hiring for AI. They were hiring for someone with good knowledge on IoT and all of that. We start cursing the HR people. But let me tell you, we need to look back. We need to look into ourselves. The mistake is with you, not with the HR personals of that organization. Why? Because in your resume, you said good knowledge about AWS. Did you draw any boundary that I have no knowledge on this subject, or I have only knowledge about this area in AWS? Or you have written in your resume, possess great understanding, good knowledge, detailed understanding, have good expertise. Did you draw boundary telling that I have knowledge on EC2, VPC, S3, RDS and all of that? No. So what is the fault with the HR personnel? Because if you tell me that I'm expert at AWS, then definitely you expect me to have good knowledge on all the points of AWS. Yes or no? So whose fault it is that they called you for an interview where they are looking for professionals with good knowledge on IoT, or they are looking for good knowledge on robotics or some other technology which you are not familiar with? It's your fault. It's your fault. I'm sorry to say, but that is the reality. And the bad part is we never realize that it is our fault. So let me tell you, how do we identify which job roles you need to apply for? How do I ensure that I don't get such calls where they're looking for some different domain, some different technology? Because let me tell you very honestly, if you get 2 or 3 such calls and you are not able to convert those opportunities, by the time the fourth call you receive, you're already demotivated. You don't have that confidence to demand for the numbers which you want in terms of salary. You don't have confidence to demand for the position which you should be applying for. And eventually what happens is you end up compromising with yourself. And that is where a lot of problem starts. You don't have a healthy work-life balance. You're somewhere trying to fit yourself into the situation which you should not be. Agree with me? I'm not telling any stories here, not doing any career counseling here, but this is the harsh reality which I want you guys to be aware of. Okay. Now let me tell you, how do we fix this problem? So the very simple solution to this problem is you need to be doing some research. Before we purchase a mobile phone which worth some 10,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees, we do a lot of research. We see reviews in at least 10 to 15 websites. We check with our friends. We check with all those geeks who have good knowledge about the subject, right? We look for all the details. And after doing a lot of research for some 10-15 days, you finally decide to purchase and allocate some budget, and then you purchase the phone. A mere 15,000 when you spend, if you're doing so much of research, someone who is planning to offer you good numbers, don't you think they would be doing a lot of research? Don't you think the organization which is planning to give you a good number, good CTC, would they not be doing good amount of research? They would be, right? So the solution to this problem is, I did not want to just be talking about the problem statement. Let's understand what is the solution. The solution to this problem is, next time before you prepare your resume, don't blindly prepare. Okay, how many of you guys do some research before you prepare your resume? Again, the number remains the same. 95% of people don't. Once they complete some skill set, they blindly update their resume. But that's not how you should be doing, my dear friends. Next time, before you're updating, before you're building your resume, you need to follow this trick. And trust me, it will work wonder. Not only for your cloud, any technology, any job role which you want to apply for. So next time before you build your resume, do this research which I'm going to teach you today. Go to some job portals. Okay, like I've taken naukri.com, which is very familiar in India. Okay, everyone should be aware of this, in India at least. So you can go to any job portal which you are comfortable with, right? Search for the keyword called AWS. Okay, I'm just giving you an example how to do this research. Okay, then scroll down. Here you have a choice to define your experience. So let me say I'm putting it relevant of some 6 years. Okay, 0 to 6 years. You can select your own range of experiences. Now, after you do this, all you should be doing is looking at least 15 to 20 job roles. Not one or two, at least 15 to 20 job roles. Prashant, how is it gonna help me? I'll tell you. Read these 15 to 20 job roles. In detail, they have given job descriptions. Read about it. By reading your job description, you will have fair enough understanding that is this your cup of tea or not. Read at least 15 to 20, or if you have enough time on some fine Sunday or Saturday on your weekends, spend some 3 hours, read around 50, 70 job descriptions. The more you read this job description, more you will be aware what kind of job role you want to apply for. Because if you ask me to read this job description, okay, if you ask me to read this job description, I can understand experience using cloud formation, AWS EC2 VPC S3, I'm comfortable. Route 53 EC2 CloudWatch S3 Lambda Kinesis IAM Elastic Cache, okay, I'm still comfortable. So okay, this is one job role which I'm comfortable with. Let's look at the next one. What is that they are looking for? Here they are looking for some Spring Boot, API Gateway, Hibernate, RDBMS, NoSQL DB, all of that. Microservices on AWS, Beanstalk, AWS tools, SDKs, Cloud9, CodeStar, Code Command Line, all of that. CloudWatch, CloudTrail, X-Ray, Fargate, EKS, Kubernetes, Docker. Do you think this job role is relevant to what we have just discussed? Do you think this job role is relevant? No, right? Because we have not discussed all of these subjects. Like if you talk about CodeStar, Command Line, majority of the topics which you see here are not relevant what we have discussed in part of our course. So can I say, looking at this job description, I can easily understand this is not my cup of tea. Provided if I don't have knowledge, I can easily sense that, yes, is it my cup of tea or not? Do you all agree with me? Yes or no? Everyone. Now, if you read some 15, 20 such job description, what I want you to do is don't write in your resume that I have good knowledge on AWS. I have detailed understanding about AWS. Write that I am someone who possesses knowledge on AWS EC2, VPC, S3, CloudWatch, Lambda, Kinesis. List out these services of the AWS. List out, like after reading some 15, 20 job description, you would be very familiar with the kind of job role you want to apply for. You'll have that clarity. Do you all agree with me? Yes or no? After reading some 15, 20 job descriptions, you will be very familiar, very comfortable. Okay, now that I have decided which side I should be on. So these are the list of services which I'm comfortable with. If any organization is looking for someone who has good knowledge on this list of services, then I should be applying for. So how do you ensure the recruiter knows that yes, you're someone who has good knowledge on all this subject? So list out those common topics from at least the 15, 20 job description which you have seen. List out those common topics, put it in your resume. Now what will happen is, by doing this, can I say firstly you have drawn that boundary? You can write that I am good with AWS. I have good expertise on AWS on list of these services. So can I say by listing those services, you've already drawn a boundary so that people cannot randomly call you and ask you to attempt an IoT based interview or AI based interview on AWS. Agree with me? So unnecessary confidence coming down is already addressed. Do you all agree? No one can break your confidence unnecessarily. That is first thing. Now second thing, how this will help you is, now you have clarity on what kind of job roles are available in the market and which will better suit you. Accordingly, you have prepared your resume. So you're very sure the call which you're getting is more to do with the kind of job role you're looking forward to. Yes or no? You don't need to compromise on anything. And since you're attending an interview with the skill set which you're comfortable with, can I say your confidence would be very high? And if you're bold and confident in an interview, you'll do your interview well. And if you're doing your interview well, I needless to say, the numbers, the position, all you can demand for, depending on the way your interview goes, depending on the way or the direction you show to the interviewer. So you can definitely have good packages coming to you. You don't have to run behind looking for a good packages that eventually will have to come to you. Right? Third thing, since you have put up this detail in your resume, can I say you're already well prepared on this topic? There is no surprise question in the interview. Because what happens, you go for an interview, hand over your resume to that person. If you mention possess good knowledge on AWS, let's say even on VPC, what if I ask you a specialty level question on that subject? Will you be able to address? No, obviously no. So by putting this information in your resume, you're giving a clear cut, understanding about yourself to the person who is interviewing you. And they also know, like, people are gentle enough in the industry to ask you questions from what is there in your resume rather than asking anything under the sun. Agree with me? Did you find this approach useful? I'm not sure how many of you guys were aware of this approach earlier, but I personally wanted to share with all of you guys. And let me tell you, it works wonder for many. So before you prepare your resume, next time, do this homework, do this research, then prepare your resume. This will give you a lot of clarity from the kind of job role to kind of organization you should be going at. So are we good from the interview point of view? Did this help? How many of you guys were aware of this trick earlier? Okay, couple of people to an extent. Okay. So this is one thing. Okay, I follow the same. Awesome. Glad. So this is one thing which I personally wanted to talk on, how to build your resume, because a lot of people do this mistake while building resume. So I don't want you to be among those lot of people. Okay, I want you guys to stand out from those. And how do you do that? I've already given you the trick, right? And those who had these questions earlier, Prashant, what kind of job role should I be applying? Is that question also addressed along with this? Everyone? Fantastic. So that was from your interview exam perspective. We already discussed interview perspective. We have already discussed. Now, Prashant, if I want to think as an architect, if I want to explore more, how do I start visualizing diagrams? You can't visualize without looking at some diagrams. So a couple of people like Vijay Lakshmi, you have been asking me this question. You there? Yeah. So how do we visualize this? So you cannot visualize just like that. Let me tell you very honestly. I'll give you a URL. Okay. Please have this bookmarked. Please visit this URL. Why? Because if you want to know how to architect a solution, right? If you want to know how to architect a solution, you should at least see some good amount of reference architecture diagram for different requirements. For different requirements. From a banking environment, the same VPC can be designed differently in a banking environment. The same VPC can be designed differently in a manufacturing environment. The same VPC or same S3 can be used differently in your insurance environment. The same S3 can be used very differently in another environment, right? There is no hard and fast rule on how it is designed. So how do you go about it? You try to look into some reference documents. You try to look into some reference architectures and reference document. So the URL which I have shared, here you need to do some filterings, and here you will notice how they have clearly put up these diagrams, how they design a solution, what all services they use in a banking sector, right? What they do in a digital banking kind of organization, right? This diagram might look huge. You don't have to, worry about everything. But what you need to be looking is break down this big diagram into smaller sections, try to understand how they are placing, then try to do some reasoning why it is placed in this way. And how do you do that reasoning? So you don't have to do anything out of box again here. You have relevant documents available here itself. They'll tell you where they'll explain what they are doing, why they are doing. So only after you look into relevant documents, you'll have a lot of details coming in. Like if you talk about, financial service regulations and guideline of Australia, right? So this document will obviously talk about different service, requirement and, parameters. And taking into those parameters only, you design a solution. You don't blindly design a solution. You don't blindly, draw anything, right? So you should think as an architect, and to think as an architect, you should know what are that they are taking into consideration. What is that they are taking into consideration? Like well architected framework. So what is that they are taking into consideration for a well architected framework, right? If they are including any services, why and how do they consider on that? So you need to review this. You need to spend time in this section, right? Only then you will be able to visualize. And if I am to tell you that, hey, you can easily do this in span of 2 days, let me tell you, I would be very wrong. This will only come with a practice. I don't want to sell any stories to any of you guys. Okay, I want to be very realistic. This will only come with a practice. So more the diagram, more the frameworks, more the materials or, relevant details you look forward to, more the clarity you will have. And that's the reality. Am I making sense? So if you look for architecture for airline crew management system, it might be very different. The same services they might be using very differently here, right? So different kind of business have different kind of requirement. Guys, am I making sense? Everyone? Vijayalakshmi, is your question answered? Everyone, yes, no? I would appreciate if you can be quick to respond. I know it's too much of lecturing. Okay. But I don't want to, come from the career counseling or lecture point of view, but just trying to share you some good insights about how you should be, practicing this subject well. Do you have any good one for the cost optimization? All of that is available here in this website, Vivek. For cost optimization, all of this, right? All you need to do is some good search. You have everything available here. If you specifically talk about well architected framework, right? Like I have selected only diagrams, but you all have all the informations. You should be able to find that here. Okay, cool. So now if anyone has any question, then please do let me know. If not, I think that's it from my side as part of this course. I hope I did justice to the course. I hope I kept my promises which I had, promised in the beginning of this course. And I do assume that all of you are pretty comfortable with the subject and pretty happy with this course completion now. Yes. What is the difference between AWS well architected and AWS reference architecture? So well architected is nothing but using the best practices. AWS reference architecture is you as an organization, you might want to customize it as per your requirement. That is your reference architecture. Make sense? Okay. Having 5+ years of experience in industry as a developer, now moving to architect as a fresher. Okay, so I'm not getting any calls from the industry due to lack of experience in AWS. So that's what the trick which I discussed today. Vidika, if you follow that, I'm pretty confident that you will get more relevant job calls. The reason why you're not getting relevant job calls, somewhere your resume is not updated properly. Okay, so please follow that approach which I've discussed today, and I'm very sure, very confident that you'll get relevant job calls. Okay, so many questions, let me attempt them one by one. Allow me. What additional things we need to prepare for professional or specialty level certification? Let me tell you, professional and specialty would require detailed understanding about the same level of same subjects. Okay, but more detailed understanding in and out of those services you should be aware of, and that will only come with more and more of hands-on. AWS well architected framework, is it created by AWS? Yes, experts at AWS give their insight. Okay, can you help me understand how S3, DynamoDB and other components we discussed are interlinked? So let's say I have an application ABC Vijay Lakshmi. Okay, I have an application ABC, and in that application I need storage to store some images and all of that. Or let's say the front end images, I want to store it on for my application there are some front end images which I can store in S3. User databases I can store in DynamoDB. So I need to integrate that in my application. If you recall the other day when we were discussing Lambda, right, how from one single code I was able to get information from S3, use that information, use SES and invoke that emails. So that kind of integration you'll have to define in your application level. Making sense? Cool. Can you repeat with the first part about the exam? I joined 5 minutes late. So about examination, when you say joined 5 minutes late, is it like some 7:05 you joined? Because we started today by 5 minutes late. Just want to check. Today when we started by 7 minutes. We started late today. I mean, we were waiting for everyone to join in. After completing course, is there any time frame for completing quiz and the project that was listed in the LMS? Not specifically, though. I mean, there is a default timeline, but it is not mandatory that if you don't complete within that timeline, you might run into any problem or something. Okay, so don't worry. You can always go back to Edureka team, asking them to adjust this time plan, because you might have some professional commitments or personal commitments, right? So you can always reach them and they can provide you with some extension on that. Does that work, John? Cool. Then the next question. Can you please share some docs to prepare for AWS interview? It's already there in the material which I shared, Wahida. Okay. So here you have a document, some interview questions also. I've included some basics interview questions. Some very basics interview questions are already there, and there are a few more relevant materials in the material which I have shared. All right. Demo for dynamic website hosting with a domain name configuration, where I have searched on Google a lot but not found any proper guideline. Please help me and share link later. I'm sorry, Manoj, I'll not be able to send you any email. Okay. And dynamic website, when we say you need to have your own code, I mean, just in case if you don't have code, right, then you can use what we discussed in our module 6. If you recall, in module 6, I have, for our databases, I gave you a website page where you can enter your user details. That is a dynamic one. Manoj, if you recall, right, you were able to enter the details. So that's your dynamic. So you can use that code, and obviously how to work with your Route 53 is something which you're already aware. Do I need to do AWS machine learning specialty or solution architect class is enough? So if you are specifically looking for job into the machine learning side, then machine learning understanding is much needed. But no, you're only looking for normal architecting your infrastructure, designing your infrastructure. You're not going to work on the ground doing those coding stuff and managing the infrastructure. Then your architect level detail is good enough. Yeah. I missed the exam part which you discussed. Which one we need to appear first? Okay, I'll quickly repeat. Not a problem. So basically, you have 4 levels of examination in AWS. You have foundational level, associate level, professional level, and specialty level. Foundational level is very fundamental examination of AWS, which is called as cloud practitioner examination. This costs you $100. You get 40 questions, 60 minutes, and pass mark is somewhere around 65 to 68%. Now, this foundational level examination is going to check your fundamental understanding about AWS, fundamental understanding about cloud computing. Next is your associate level examination, which costs you around $150. You get 65 questions, 130 minutes, 72% is the pass mark, right? So it is not mandatory that you take foundational level and only then you can take associate level. If you wish, you can take this, or if you want to directly take this associate level examination, you can even directly take associate level examination. The choice is always yours. Does that answer? Okay. How much minimum experience required for better calls? Around 15 LPA salary. How much experience will support this training? So minimum experience, even with 5+ years of experience, you can get this 15 LPA. If you have 5+ years of experience, right, you can easily get 15 LPA. And on AWS, if you have fair enough understanding, right, if you're able to demonstrate your knowledge, right, then very sure getting more than this also should not be a big challenge. Pawan? Any other question from anyone? All right. If no questions from anyone, okay. What about other exams shown then? Everything have different examination? Yes. Everything have different examination. Very true. That would require a different approach of preparation. Like for your, at least for your developer level, I have given a book. Okay. You can use that book material to attempt your developer examination if you're interested, right? It has in detail about the topics from a developer exam perspective, right? All right. So just stay back for one more minute, and I have one small thing which I want to understand from all of you guys. Any feedback for me which you think I should improve upon? Because you have been, you know, on the other side listening to me for last 15 sessions for 3 weeks now. And I want to check with all of you guys anything that you think I should be improving upon, or anything which you specifically want me to work upon, so that you all have a better learning experience. When I say you, like the people in the coming batches, I would appreciate if everyone can give their honest feedback. I really appreciate it. Even if it's a negative, I would appreciate it, because that's how I would, improve, and that's how I'll be able to deliver the best. Any specific feedback, anything which you want to talk, or anything which you want to, put it in the question window, anything. But I would appreciate if all of you guys can give your feedbacks. You did good job. Thank you so much, Mervin. You taught very well. No need of improvement. Only I'm hearing you and able to understand everything. Thank you so much, Manoj. I feel appreciate the way of teaching you. A teacher's job to take a bunch of live wires and see that they are well grounded. So I feel teacher is like God. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Doing the same will make the student to learn more. I am from non-IT background, non-IT sector, but got the good understanding about the subject. Thank you so much. You're a good instructor. Thanks for the nice classes. Thank you so much, Nimai. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, EduReka guest. Because we are getting to learn AWS first time, we can't comment anything from the technical point of view, but the way the sessions was held pretty well. Thank you so much, Vijay Lakshmi. Okay, Aram says you delivered above and beyond. Thank you so much. One thing I would like to highlight, more hands-on homework would have helped more. I could do that, but let me tell you, these are daily sessions. Okay. If I do more hands-on, you don't have more time to practice. And that somewhere, would break you down. Hey, so many things. Okay. Things are piling up, and it's human tendency when things get piled up, we don't bother to go back and look. So that is why, the course is planned to have some limited hands-on so that all of you guys can practice. You're a good instructor. Thank you so much, Rajesha. Before started AWS, I was very confused. Okay, by now I assume that you are not confused anymore. Class is crystal clear. Now it's our turn to make it work out. Absolutely, Madesh. I agree. I personally felt it's very useful. Training could be more beneficial as a learner if the slides can be modified with some same information which you thought. But again, it's very informative session. So thanks for the session. I do agree, Prasanna, but slides are kept for you to, go back, read and all of that. So additional information is what I'm supposed to deliver. So I stay away from the slide. You're awesome instructor, but still need to deep dive into more technicals of AWS networking. Venkta, I agree on that. But since many of you guys are not coming from a networking background, let me tell you, even if I deep dive, people will not be able to follow. So at the same time, when I deep dive, I need to ensure that you understand the subject, because my core is network and security. Okay, it's the same thing which I've been doing for last 8+ years now, and that is still my core area. Okay, I'm very content with your timing in covering the topics. Rest is on us to implement. Thank you so much, Prashantni. Only explaining mode, use some tools instead of paint. I do agree, Bidika, but owing to lockdown, I had my digital pad, broken, so I couldn't use that. But ideally, I'm used to use that digital pads. You're a good instructor. I'm from non-IT background and I easily understand the concept. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wahida. I'm glad. Need to provide some real-time scenarios to work for people as small tasks. Even you explain with real-time scenario, but if you give task, it would be more helpful. Okay, that is one thing which I can work upon. Thank you, Prashant. It was good course. Enjoyed it. I agree. Hands-on would have helped. Unless I practice, I'll forget everything soon. True that, Amar. Are you on LinkedIn? Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, but you know, let me tell you, owing to the agreement signed with Edureka, right? I'm not allowed to share my personals. I would love to stay connected with each and everyone, but because of the agreement signed, which I have to honor, I'll not be able to share that details. Okay, cool. Any other thing which you want me to improve upon? Couple of feedbacks telling that maybe a digital tool. So I agree that always becomes a problem when I'm using Paint, but because of the lockdown at my place, I did not have a SPAD digital pad, and my current one got damaged, so I did not have a choice. I'm sorry about it, but yeah, like few feedback telling that more details into networking, definitely noted. I'll try to see if how we can ensure that I share more details around it, and then few details around maybe if I can start giving tasks on daily basis. Few people have given that recommendation. I take that and I'll try to upcoming trainings, maybe not for you guys, for the other batch. And who never knows, like, we might cross our path in some other training, because I deliver trainings around various platforms, not only AWS, even on Azure, Google, and all of that, right? So who knows, we cross our path some other day, right? So yes, any other question if anyone has, then do let me know. If not, I think that's it from my side. I wish you all the very best to each and everyone, and do well with your exams, do well with your job roles. Thank you so much for all your time and patience. You have been patient enough, right, to hear me out throughout this course. Thank you so much. Can you please once again share the documents? So documents are there in LMS portal, Wahida. You can download n number of times. You go to your LMS portal under your module 10. It's not that like once you download, you'll not be able to re-download it. So here it is, AWS study material. Okay. Before started AWS, I was very confused, but now I'm good and have confidence. Thank you so much. I'm glad. That's what the purpose of this course was. Super. Thanks for each and every guide. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tapsi. So yes, guys, do not forget the interview trick. Use that trick to build your resume. See, exam part, clearing, not clearing is not big. Getting that relevant job is very important, right? So please use that trick. I'm very sure, trust me, it will work wonders for all of you. Okay. Do we need to pay separately for examination? Yes. That is purely AWS managed examination, nothing to do with Edureka. So you can take that examination at your convenience and you need to pay separately for it.
Okay, Vivek says maybe we can have some, write up around each and every service, one or two liner on each service on AWS, all those 175 plus services. All right, that's a good suggestion. Maybe I can start preparing some OneNote kind of thing or a mind map kind of thing. I'll try to do that. Thank you, Vivek. And EduReka will give you course completion certification. True that. You need to complete the assignments, projects, quiz, and you'll earn your course completion certification from EduReka. Okay. All right, guys. Then thank you so much. Signing off for this course. I wish you all the very best. And it was pleasure knowing each and everyone. I'm very sure we'll cross our path. Please do not forget to mark your feedback for one last time today. I look forward to your feedback. And please do write in the comment section what is that you enjoyed the most. I'll take that as a souvenir and I will always cherish that. Yeah. So please do not forget to mark your feedbacks for one last time. I'm very happy joined your class in EduReka. Other presentations also shown in EduReka. Compare that way of presentation is very good. Your way of presentation is very good. Thank you so much, Pawan. I'm glad you enjoyed this course. Thank you so much for all your kind words, Pawan Kumar. Awesome, guys. Then signing off for the day, signing off for this course. Wish you all the very best. Do not forget to mark your feedbacks.